Mendel and yours truly, Chris Cusimano. We were just before we press record to start now. Jen was just making fun of the way I looked, and I was like, you know what? It's a good way to start this podcast. But before we get into that, if you haven't been here before, we are a bunch of real estate agents who do things differently in Southeast Florida, and we like just to talk, shoot the and talk shop and do we don't do the traditional things that we are taught by the quote unquote gurus, which is cold calling, door knocking, and those sorts of things. We have created other ways of generating business, and we all do it at a high level, and we share that with you, wrapped in a bow and wrapping paper of shenanigans,
Yes.
which is where we'll start because apparently I looked really mean just a
Yeah,
second
you
ago.
look super intense. I was questioning what exactly you were looking at or what kind of problem you were trying to solve because your face, you had like resting, you know what face? but
It's
the
working, B face. I have a problem that I hyper focus on things and the look on my face is bad. And I know this to be an issue. What's so there's a funny story about it. I one of my favorite people ever who I became friends with for about a year, she avoided me. We actually worked out at the same gym in Parkland and the at in Parkland for a while.
was it crunch?
No, it was the Parkland Y. They had a gym,
Oh,
YMCA.
okay. I love that crunch. I loved it.
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
hear bad things about Crunch.
yeah, me too. Well, we can talk about let's talk about that. But before we detour, so anyways, I when I do something, I focus. Like when I'm at the gym, I just focus on my workouts. I had this face, this mean focus face, and I don't realize it. Well, now I understand. I try to level up, whatever. And I wear a shirt that says I'm friendly all the time now, so it kind of bounces. I'm not
Uh-huh.
really an ass, but one day,
You're like,
Not really one. Just look
not
like one.
really.
I just play one on TV.
Yeah. Well, one day I'm using the squat rack, and she needed like I guess an attachment or something that was on it, and she came up like all scared, and she's like, "Can I?" Like I'm like, "Yeah. Are you okay? Like why do you?" She goes, "I don't know. You look so intense all the time." Like, and I didn't even, you know what I mean? And then we ended up talking for a little bit, and I went on a listing appointment, and she didn't use me to sell her house. But anyways, we became friends after that. But I have that all the time, and I also see it with my neighbors, my in-laws, and Ron, my wife's dad. When I'm outside working, I always like I focus on what I'm doing, like hyper focus, and I look in
mhm.
the corner of my eye and can see him kind of just like he wants to talk to me, but he's scared to.
Hmm.
And I realize that I have that intense look on. And I don't mean internally, I'm a weak little puppy. I'm like, can someone be my friend? But externally, I come off as, that's just
Preach it.
how it is.
I'm the same way. I
Are
always
you?
have to focus on giving myself like puppy dog eyes because when I'm just like resting, I look like the most unapproachable human being alive. And I'm just like, why is nobody talking to me right now? And it's
Yeah, you
probably
just
because
like
I'm always just like, if nobody can see me right now, like who's listening to this, it's just like blank stare. And sometimes I default to like having the the bridge wrinkle. And
Oh,
for some reason I'm always just like pouting. And I'm not pouting, it's just like how I rest.
it's
Like
just how you look.
that's my comfort zone.
that's your
And it's like, all right, I need to like turn the dial so my smile can, smile. And just like puppy dog eyes. Maybe that'll work. But then I feel like I look like I'm faking it. But I'm not.
Yeah,
But I am.
you're in this weird situation where you when you're younger you don't realize you look this way, and then when you find out from experience that you do, and then now you're trying to focus on what you're doing, but also trying to focus on not focusing on what you're focusing on, because you know what I mean. It's just like it's a
Uh-huh.
weird dynamic, and I find myself in social situations doing that a lot. Actually, so I was in a presentation. I was with a client when I was younger, way younger. I was probably, gosh, I don't even know, in the mid 20s, like, and I was a relatively new agent. And one of my clients, I don't know, his name was Troy. I guess it still is if he's still alive. And he took me under his, and he took me under, like, he saw I was like an
yes.
hungry person, and he had a business, and he brought me into a business meeting, and I was listening to this. It was about credit repair, a credit repair business. And I'm listening to the pitch, and then the presenter goes, "Yeah, but don't mess with this one over here. He don't mess around." And I'm like, "What?" Like I was so caught off by it. And then Troy's like, "Yeah, man, you look intense in those things." I'm like, "I was just listening." Like I wasn't, you know what I mean? And I think that was like my first real inclination that I come off the way I'm not trying to. And I guess
Mhm.
Alex says the same thing, but
Uh-huh.
not Jen. Jen always looks pleasurable.
I'm always smiling.
I know. Teach us your ways. Like, how do you do that?
I wake up really early in the morning and I
Oh,
use endorphins. If
yeah.
I don't, then I'm all grumpy. I'm like, man, good morning.
I, yeah, but if I wake up early, then I'm grumpy because I woke up so early.
I gotta be careful. I'm trying to convince Alex to do a triathlon because I feel like he would like love it.
You're like the second person, I swear to God. Somebody told me to do a Spartan race also yesterday, and then you texted me this today. I'm like, am I out of shape? And this is the universe telling me to
The
to
universe is
get my
telling
cardio up.
You
No,
seem like a
that's
Spartan type of guy.
I am not. I told Jen, I was like, I purposely got a 2-story house with the primary bedroom on the first floor, so I don't have to walk up those stairs.
which literally cracked me up. I'm like, oh my god, no.
Yeah, but now I'm looking to move into a 3-story townhouse rental, and it's like, you know what? I gotta get my steps in somehow, so I guess it's gonna be that way.
But there you go. There's your
You're gonna
workout.
have glutes of steel, buddy. Glutes.
I already kind of do. They're like a soft metal.
But I'm
Nice.
watching you guys on social media, and it does motivate me, if I'm being honest. I see you guys always athletic and work out and doing these things. And I did a video with JD on our team about playing hide and seek in a house, and I
Mhm.
edited it and I recorded it, and we had our mics on, and all I can hear is me breathing heavy in the mic,
Chris.
and I'm like, oh my god, I am literally hyperventilating, talking.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you know what I mean? I find myself winded, so I'm hitting the weights pretty hard and the food. But so I'm like, so now I have my Max Trainer here, and I'm happy to say, so how the Max Trainer works is it's a hit cardio for like 12 or 13 minutes. Anyway, so it's like a rest for a minute, and you
Yep.
go full out for 25 seconds on it.
This
Right?
is a machine. I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's old. It's been a clothes hanger in our room for probably like 8 years now, but it works. And now it's right next to my desk, and I try to do it twice a day. And when I first started it years ago, when I
Mhm.
first did it, I was doing like 2 sessions back to back, no problem. I jumped on it, I don't know, a little while ago, and there's like 8 spikes when you go full steam. I can only get to like two spikes of 25 seconds. I'm like, I'm
Well,
dying. And now I'm
it-
at 5 spikes out
there
of
we
the
go.
8. So I'm getting there. But
Progress.
you
There you
guys
go.
motivate me with your post.
And you know what?
Yeah.
You're not the first person to say that to me, and that's kind of why I post, my before and afters, my, my journey of my fitness goals, so that it does motivate people. And I have people messaging me like, "Hey, you motivate me. What did you do? Like, tell me your secret." I'm like, "It's not a secret. You just change the way you eat." Like, I'm not into fad diets. I'm not into chicken and broccoli 6 times a day. It's just enjoying food, making sure you know what's going into the food, and eating it in moderation. Right. So, and just do 4 workouts a week. It can be weights, it can be cardio. Just get active and drink a gallon of water every day, or as much as possible.
On that, you said that last week. And after you said that, I decided to I mean, stuff that you already know, but sometimes you just need to hear it again. I went back on YouTube and just started. You do TikTok for your info. I'm a YouTuber for info and ChatGPT.
Such a millennial.
Yeah. So then I watched a
So am I.
video which I thought was going to teach me all this earth shattering stuff, but it didn't. And the video title was something to the effect of how to have energy like a whatever and have no caffeine or something like that. And it was just 4 steps of how to have tremendous amount of energy throughout the day. And he's a former like Navy SEAL and all this stuff. And anyways, I watched the video waiting for something like secret sauce, and there was no secret sauce. It was
So what were the 4
Oh,
steps?
it's like water.
I'll tell you. Yeah. Here's the whole video. You guys, I'm killing his views. Right.
okay.
Anyways, drink a lot of water, like Alex says. And I have been. Here, look. I usually have a soda and I have a whole thing of water.
Mhm.
Drink a
Okay.
lot of water. Eat right. Don't treat your body like a garbage disposal for a number of
Mhm.
reasons. Sleep like a champion, at least 8 hours a night, even as an adult. And when I wasn't doing that, I was going to bed at like 2 and waking up 6, half of it. But I'm getting better at that. And then what was the other one? No caffeine. Try to reduce your caffeine because according to his research, and I don't know, I didn't back it up, but what he was saying in his video is that caffeine doesn't create energy. It just borrows energy from stores that you would have had to use later, and that's why if you drink a lot of caffeine in the morning, you usually crash a few hours
Yep.
afterwards. And I was like, you know what? I knew all that, and I didn't apply any of it for a couple years, and this is why I am wearing a t-shirt and elastic band pants right now because of that.
Mm,
So
double
It-
win.
it-
So
I
now you know, or you've been reminded, Chris. Okay, you've been reminded, and now it's your time to have an action plan.
well, it's you
Mhm.
guys also. I do watch you guys and other people online, and on my feeds and stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I
Yeah.
gotta.
Chris.
so
Oh, go ahead, Alex.
so
Segue. So go ahead.
just to touch on the caffeine thing. So caffeine is a drug, and it's just been marketed as something that everybody needs. Yeah, it's fine. I wake up every morning and have a
Jen's
Celsius.
holding up a Monster Energy for you guys.
Yeah.
If you don't know, we're allowed.
With
We
a
gotta give you
huge
context.
smile.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
So it's a drug, and it takes 2 weeks to kick the
Mhm.
habit and wean off of it,
Yeah.
right? And your body to basically get off the withdrawal symptoms of not having caffeine in your body. And I remember a few years ago, I did that. It took me 2 weeks
Wow.
to not be groggy all the time. And let me tell you, after 2 weeks, I didn't need the caffeine anymore. I just had the energy, right? Because I wasn't borrowing it from future Alex and being groggy later. So my body knew how to regulate its energy levels where I didn't need caffeine anymore. And then I messed up and relapsed.
Yeah, because it's a drug.
It is 100%. It's a drug that's marketed as, it does have its health benefits. It increases your heart rate, which makes you burn more calories and burn fat when you're kind of just chilling, but that's also not the best thing for you. But yeah, caffeine, if you can stick out the 2 weeks and drink water and just be active and figure out ways to get that energy in, whether it's, natural foods that are high in thermogenics, like broccoli is good for you. Cayenne pepper just kind of raise.
He's like
Yeah.
an encyclopedia.
It's been a long time of YouTube, bodybuilding.com forums, and
Bro, I used to do all that apple cider vinegar and
Yeah.
lime juice and cayenne pepper and all. I used to be like that too.
all that bro science.
All the
I've
bro
ne-
science. Yeah.
I've
ahead,
never
Jen.
been like that ever. I kind of just do life. And I actually had a physical last week I told you guys about. Was on the
A
call
plus.
this morning with the doctor, and she was going through my my blood work. She's like, "You're a stallion." I'm like, "I know, right?"
Jeez, Megan.
I
All
know.
right.
She's like, "You're so healthy," and I don't. So I was really excited. So I'm going to share that with you that I am healthy.
Good.
Not thriving mentally, but apparently my blood work shows as well. And
And if
I do take a lot of caffeine, and I know that's like my vice. Like
everyone has a vice, but I mean,
Everybody has
it could be
something.
it could be worse. It could be hard drugs. But Jen,
Yeah.
one thing I would recommend, and I'm not a doctor obviously, but something that I don't know if we spoke about it on the show, but I did one of those 1 hour full body MRI scans. It was like a couple $1,000, but worth it because we're getting older now, and we're having friends who are passing away from things that they probably didn't know was going on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
a couple of my buddies were getting sick, and unfortunately some were passing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm at an age that I should probably do this. So it's called Prenuvo, and I did it in Mission Bay. I'm sorry, in Meisner Park in East Boca, and you
Mhm.
sit there, and they put you in this like plastic coffin. It's kind of, but you know what? I had an MRI machine and had Netflix playing, and it was calm. It was relaxing. I had an hour when I didn't have any phone or any. I actually
I
watched the
freak
show.
out
It was,
an hour in a
wa-
plastic coffin. Oh my
dude,
goodness,
it
that
was
sounds
it
like
was
hell.
the best $2,000 I ever spent.
I have
or whatever it
anxiety
was.
just thinking about myself in the plastic
Bro,
tube for an hour.
I want to go back. When they pulled me out of there, I was like, put me back in because you listen. You're a realtor and you're a dad, and you have all these things going on. We're constantly bombarded, and if we miss a call and we miss a text as real estate agents, that could be food out of our kids' mouths, right?
Yeah.
So we have this like anxiety of always our phones are always on next to us, and I'm looking at all these alerts and stuff. And so when you're forced, you cannot, no matter what, check that. And you don't, and you can't feel guilty about it. It was so relieving. And that only happened twice in my career. The second time was when we had the lockdowns with COVID for
Yeah.
those 2 weeks.
That was
For some
fun.
reason,
2
that
weeks.
stress just went. I don't have to be available. But we could tie this back into real estate, the caffeine thing, if you want, unless you guys have another
Well,
point to make.
I was gonna tie it back in on just availability, right? Um, that's a bit of a stressor in itself, as we navigate personal lives and then our clients' lives, because we have to make ourselves available,
Mm-hmm.
depending whether you're working sellers or buyers or both. Some sellers, we talked about it this morning in our meeting, like some sellers really want us to personally show every single appointment, and that is just a whole different conversation. And then of course you have buyers that you need to take out, and sometimes you can partner up with a showing agent, but you have to work your schedule around it, and that gives me anxiety when I
Is
have.
it funny? People get into real estate for quote unquote freedom, and it's the other way around. You lose it all.
Oh yeah, they
Can't
don't
check
realize
out
it.
ever.
Can we dive into that, because that is like the number one thing everyone's like, oh, I bet you have
I want to
so much.
travel. I want to have freedom
Yeah,
with
I
my
want to
kids.
set my own schedule.
You're
And be
you're
my own
never going
boss.
to the movies without checking your phone again. You're never going on a date without your phone nearby. You are going to go on dates and have dinner or go out with friends, and you will almost at least once or twice throughout the night or day, if you're getting mimosas, have to go away and answer a call. That is it. Your freedom is gone. You don't have one boss. If you're a good realtor, you have 20.
Yeah,
So-
the thing about
and
that
they don't
is
care about the other 19.
yeah.
Anyways, go ahead, Alex.
The thing I always hear and kind of makes me cringe, where people are like, I want to be my own boss, but I feel like they don't realize what that really means. Like people need accountability. Basically, what they're saying is they think they don't need an accountability from their boss looking down on them, and that's why they're performing at that salary level. So now imagine what they're now their own boss. They have nobody to make them accountable. They can wake up and do whatever they want. And a lot of times when people do that, if they're not self-motivated, they're not doing anything for the rest of the day. They're just waiting for something to happen. Like the universe is just going to be like, oh, Alex is a new real estate agent, so let's send all the business to him. Right? Like that's not how it works.
Which in reality is the total opposite.
That is why at Coaching by Kuzi, you get a free monthly workout, which I have next to me at all times that I work. On a note about that, I do want to talk about that inside the monthly workbook, because you has a good point, Alex, about not knowing what to do. One thing that changed, I would say might have been the biggest thing that changed my real estate career, and a couple of things. One, waking up with that anxiety of not knowing what to do and being unemployed, and also going to work and not knowing what to do, was the night before I would start writing down my to-do list. And actually, it's funny. I have one here on a Discover business loan pamphlet, my to-do list for the day, because I didn't have my workbook handy when I thought about things I had to do. So I just wrote it in the car in a pamphlet that I had. And I crossed them off. I did them all. So, but what I love about that is I when I talk to a lot of real estate agents and team members and all that stuff, they had the same stresses as you listening or watching do, or what we do here, is that you sit in your desk in the morning and you go, now what? And then you end up, well, what we used to do, you used to go just scroll through your emails, and then you wasted an hour answering emails that could have waited. And then you go through your phone. Oh, what did I miss on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook? And then, oh shit, it's lunchtime. And then you go walk and grab lunch, and it's an hour. And then you come back and then you talk to the office manager for a half hour. And you go back to your desk and then you answer the emails you missed when you did those things. And then you go home. And really, you didn't do anything. You did nothing. And that's a very common thing in the industry. But now if you write down things that you want to accomplish the next day, the second you sit down at your desk, you have a to-do list of where to start, and you don't start with your emails, right? And you end up getting yourself down these rabbit holes of production, which we call the daily HBCs, by the way. So
I like it. Do you have like what you do almost time blocked hourly? Like, all right. Yep. Nice. Is that in the HBCs?
Yep. But you know that because you have it. But you're saying that for the audience.
Yeah, man, come on.
we're pulling information, Chris. So for those of you that don't know, his daily HBCs, it is time blocked, and I think he just said an hour. And my question was, at what time do you start your HBCs?
So it depends. So the night before, if I feel like I want to go to the gym or not. So it always starts waking up with, and you guys get relate because you have kids, getting the kids and the dog situated for the day. And then after that, I would do my whatever I wrote the night before. It could be a number of things. So Like today, I bought a new coaching course for. I want to take making content, taking content to the next level serious in 2025. So I bought a course on that, and I spent the hour before our team meeting going and watching, and I still have my checklist and all that stuff up here. I have it printed here. I have my scripts over here, which is what I had my working bitch face on earlier. Jen, I was working on a script, so I was doing that, and then we had our team meeting. That was for 10 to 11, and then from 11 to 12 is the podcast, and then 12 to 1. That's when I'm gonna probably grab something to eat, check all my emails, text, make sure I get caught up, and if I am caught up, and then from 1 to 2, I'm gonna message my 20 people. So it's all there. But yeah, they're time blocked within the hour, and then I'm gonna dive back into the training.
I love
That
that.
works.
I
So
kind
what
of
do you guys got going?
I took a spin off of the HBC daily checklist, and then on one of the sections where are actually for the like 2 hours blocks, I gave myself just a massive activities list. And then like back to this is just like 2 years ago we talked about trying to get 100 points, trying to
Oh
get
yeah,
100
the
points a
point
day.
list.
Yeah, like a checkpoint list because I'm very competitive with myself.
Yeah.
So trying to just get 100 points within those 2 hours is like my daily goal. So that
That's cool.
yeah, like and sometimes I stretch it out depending on what it is. I stretch it. It's 3 hours, but that's definitely how I go.
Do you guys hear my dog barking? Sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, he's
Yes.
so annoying. He doesn't bark until this time. I'm gonna let me move him. You guys chat. Stand by.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I have a general to-do list of things that I know I need to do. I'm just terrible at time management and time blocking. So that's my goal, not for 2025, this week. Like
Or like
your
right
goal,
now.
your goals don't have to wait till the new year. They can start right now. Like all the people that are creating New Year's resolutions, starting the first Monday of January. Like, no, start now.
Right?
Start Wednesday, December 11th. Like,
Don't you want that new bod that you want? Like start now. Don't you want to
yeah.
manage your time? Start now.
Yeah, and I've fallen into that as well. Like, oh, starting Monday, I'm gonna do this. Like, no, like it's Friday. You have Saturday, Sunday to do what you want to do. You have Friday to do what you want to do. It should never, because tomorrow, all right, I'm gonna start this tomorrow. All right, and tomorrow is gonna be tomorrow after that. Like, you're always gonna be pushing the goalpost. So everybody who's listening, who's saying starting the first of the year, I'm gonna do this. Like, no, start the 12th of December. Or you know what? No, start the 11th of December.
I had to look at the day. I was like,
Yeah.
12?
Yeah.
Today?
There you go.
I was wrong. Okay.
Start the 11th of December, Wednesday of 2024.
Yeah. Well,
Just to be
start too, and then like something that because I listen to a lot of self helps and I listen to a daily mental podcast that
Mhm.
helps me get in the mindset. And something that Rob Dow always talks about is starting what you finish. I think that's so magical.
Mhm.
Start what you finish. From the moment you get out of bed, your sleeping is done. Finish the sleeping task. Make your bed. You worked out. Finish your workout. Here's your routine. Put everything away. Boom, boom, boom. Make sure, and so on with work. With our daily tasks.
Yep.
Just start it now, not later. Now, and freaking finish it.
Yeah.
And that's really important. It's such a simple concept, but I think it's magical.
It is, but people with ADHD like myself, that is a problem. I need 50 milligrams of Vyvanse for me to finish a task.
Like, just
Yeah.
finish it.
I try to. It's just it's hard to get into habits when you have brain issues. It's hard to do that.
Your wires are kind of like
All over the
all over.
place.
I gotcha.
Yes.
I mean, we do what we
But
can.
I try.
Right.
I try. Like, I used to not make the bed religiously. Like, so recently I've been like, all right, let's start with putting the blanket back. I know for some reason I have 40 throw pillows, so let's put a few of those back on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I tried. I'm very conscientious of it.
What's that movie Along Came Polly? Do you remember that scene?
Yes. Yes. Every time I undo my bed, that's all I think about is Ben Stiller. Just like, why do we have all these pillows?
Mm-hmm. It cracks me up.
Chris
welcome
is always. Chris, I feel like always walks into like the weirdest conversations.
Yeah. So Chris, welcome back. We talked about.
I think you're still muted.
Is
You're
it?
talking about pillows.
Throw
I'm looking
pillows, yes.
forward. The concept of obviously starting now. Stop procrastinating.
Yeah, it started with all the people who are making New Year's resolutions to start something on January 1st, or you could just start it on December 11th,
Mm-hmm.
2024, and you'd be already like 3 weeks ahead of everybody else who's starting. The busiest time of the year in the gym is the
Mm-hmm.
first week of January
I hate
every time, and
everybody
it's
this.
packed and it's crazy and it's annoying, and I'm not going to see them next month, so why the hell are they here now, right?
Oh boy.
But it's the same with our business. It's everybody's like, all right, starting January 1st, I'm gonna start making cold calls. I'm gonna start making expires. I'm gonna start social media. I'm gonna start video. Like, start
Yeah.
December 11th.
So I teach trainings on the coaching meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I can tell you every time this part of year actually it starts fading low around October, around Halloween, and
What's
then
not phasing? They're like the
like the attendance.
attend. Oh, okay, I didn't capture that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. So the attendance starts going down, and then come mid January or something, not even early January. Like usually like around mid January, I noticed that the room fills up again. Like it'll be anywhere from like 30 to 45, 50 people, right? And then all of a sudden in October, it gets to like 20. In November, like 12. In December, like 8, right? And it's just that's what happens. But
Yeah.
if we're trying to keep it as real as we can here, the most people I'm gonna say this, the top people don't make excuses not to work. They find reasons to work, and they
Mhm.
find opportunities when they can work and better themselves, instead of saying, I'll just wait till January. You're not going to turn. It's the same concept when people, in my opinion, go, I'm going to wait till Monday to start my diet. I'm going to wait till
Mhm.
Monday. I'm going to wait till Monday. You're
Literally
not
what
all
John
of a
was saying.
sudden becoming a superhero. Like you
Yep.
didn't just all of a sudden change on Monday. You're still the same person. So you're just going to fall into the same bad habits where you'd be good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday you're going to fall off the wagon, and then you're just going to start again the
Yep.
following Monday.
And you know what happens Saturday and Sunday before that Monday? They eat everything
They
that they
got
know they're not going to eat, and then their body starts withdrawing from the sugars and the fats and all that, and they feel like shit. They're like, oh, you know what? I did good this week.
I'll start on
Yep.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or
And Alex,
or
are you speaking
post-spectrum
from
Wednesday.
experience?
100%.
Yeah, me too.
All the time. Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what? So what I started doing was I'm going to be good for 2-3 months, and then I'm going to have one cheat day.
Yeah, but that cheat day can get you though.
It can, but just make sure it's a day or at least a cheat meal. You know what I mean? So, and then I like that because it kind of re-kickstarts my metabolism. And it's like, I prefer days where I'm not picking out, but I'm not being so, all right, I can't eat this. It's like, I'll eat it. But I make sure that Sunday and the next 2-3 months, I'm good. And then once I'm in like the fat burning zone, I can do it every 2 to 3 weeks instead.
You guys make me feel so uneducated when it comes to
It's just what works for me.
behind all of this.
Oh, Jen, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're. I mean, as active you are and how on top of it you are, great. I mean, you do all those awesome drinking videos though, which kind of levels it out. But
Yeah.
but
know.
this
Everybody
does
has their
relate.
vice.
This does relate to real estate because I can,
Enjoy.
at least for me, and I'm sure there's other people out there who can feel the same. Is when I am at a healthy, confident, in shape point, I just want to do more content, and I want to get out there more, and I have more energy to do things. And when I'm not, like in the current state I am now, I am less motivated. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just feel like the confidence is a real thing. Plus, when
It
your
is.
clothes are a little too tight when you're recording, it's uncomfortable.
Although it gets annoying because now all my clothes needs to be either taken in or donated. Like
So you never urge to fill them out.
well, yeah. Well, first I'm gonna see if I can get them taken into the tailor. Like I have suit pants that like I tightened the belt so much, like the waist was like rippled.
Yeah.
I got called out by Erica Shepard yesterday. She's like,
You didn't iron your belt.
no, I was like, my pants. She's like, are you okay in there? Like, it looks like your older brother's clothes. I'm like, thanks. I'll take the compliment.
It's like that kid that goes to like his first like bar mitzvah and he borrows his, like, bigger brother's
Exactly.
outfit.
That's how I
You know what
felt. But it looked good, so I wore it anyway, hoping nobody would notice. But clearly, everybody noticed.
You know, there was no hiding that. Nice try.
Yeah.
And you know what people were,
Compliment.
I think we're talking about noticing we need to be paying attention to our industry changing. Let's talk about it.
For a while, I heard text messages being sent out. I couldn't hear what you just
Yeah,
said.
that was Jen.
I don't know how to mute. Oh, I'm gonna go on.
Because you have your system audio on.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, I don't know how that happened this time, but it's because of that. My bad.
So since we're coming to the end of 2024, I think it's important to talk about Vision 2025, not Project 2025, Vision 2025. And we can get in trouble there. So with our I had our team meeting today. I think this would be relevant for the podcast too. I brought up, and I think Alex, you might have attended this in 2011. I was asked to host a couple of classes about what I was doing in my business that was different. And I didn't realize this stuff was different then. But basically, it was leveraging the algorithm to a core group of people I call my Dream 300 through a systems and processes that we teach at Coach and Marcuzzi today because it still works. And it worked very, very well. But when I would teach these methods in these courses and classes, half the room would take and half the room wouldn't take. And ironically, when I was going through old photos of stuff for a presentation I'm putting together, I looked at the photo and like almost none of those agents not, I would say about half of those agents, and some of them I remember vividly of saying that they're not going to do these things or not in the business. And you don't need to do that. I'll just, whatever. And I'm not trying to act like I'm this visionary or anything at all, but I'm just saying that now how I see things, and I could be wrong, is with these changes with NAR, and our industry is evolving. I don't think all that drastically yet, but it could. And it could to a point where a good amount of real estate agents are not going to know how to survive, and they're not going to know how to grow their business, especially buyer's agents. The big reason why people are buyer's agents is because they don't like confrontation. They don't like the explaining their worth, their value, and justifying their commission and handling objections. Buyers are easy.
But now they got
Open
to.
doors. But now they would have to.
Mhm.
So basically, the listing agent mindset has not a lot of interest in taking out buyers. And if you're a buyer listening to, there's nothing against you. It's just when you're running a business, you can literally have 20 or 25 sellers that you're working with, and at the same time that you're working with 2 buyers. And those 25 listings, most of them, if not all of them, are going to close at some point, and one of those 2 buyers are not. So when you're running a business, when it comes to real estate, or anything that matter, you have to focus on where your business is going to grow, while at the same time making sure people are taken care of. There's a delicate balance there. I get it. But anyways, when it comes to buyers agents, they're going to struggle with these changes because now they have to learn to be listing agents for buyers, and they're not built for that. Or if they were, they would have transitioned naturally into a listing agent down the road.
And that's a great way to just interrupt real quick. That's a great way to, yes, that's what I do. It's a great way to think about it. And that's how I've been kind of explaining it to buyers themselves. When a real estate agent goes to list a seller's house, there's an agreement in place prior to being able to market the property to all the different buyers. So now, as the buyer, we're signing an agreement so I can market you to all the sellers that are out there in the marketplace. And that kind of helps them kind of understand like what this whole agreement is about and why it's good for them.
It is.
Yeah.
We had any issues with any
No.
Since August. What is it? August 17th of this year?
Yeah.
We had any issues?
The only issues I've seen is agents not using the updated contract.
Mm-hmm.
B, not using the correct addendums to tie the compensation agreement to the contract. Because for anybody that's a Florida real estate agent, the buyer's agent compensation, whether it's the seller's broker or the seller to the buyer's broker compensation, actually isn't enforceable, as it's only a Florida Association of Realtors addendum, not a FAR. So it actually doesn't tie it to the contract. There's an addendum that you need to use called the GG addendum. And that actually ties it to the contract because it's in the section where, you check off the homeowners association addendum is with this contract. Because if you check that off and the homeowner association addendum isn't actually with the contract package, it's not an executed contract, and the contract can be canceled, right? So if you don't put the GG addendum into the additional addendums, you're technically can get screwed over as the buyer's agent, even though you have the compensation agreement signed.
Isn't that wild? And there's so many agents that just are not in a brokerage that don't give them this education, as well as, I mean, it's all of our due diligence as agents. These are the regulations, the new changes in our industry for us to be just in the know.
Yeah.
But who you hire matters. Being able to have all of these moving parts in place so that the buyer doesn't get screwed, the agent doesn't get screwed. All parties are getting exactly what they intend to get.
I got into an argument with a $200 million producer for one of my listings. I told her, I was like, send me the GG, because I didn't want to burn that bridge. Like, I could have screwed them over if I wanted to. But I didn't. And I said, send me the GG. She's like, what's that? I'm like, your broker should have taught you that. She's like, my broker is the number one coach. He teaches all the other brokers. I'm like, okay.
Oh, God, the ego that some people have is disgusting.
Yeah.
In this industry.
So
sorry, I got distracted with a call. I was like, oh, it's a lead. I hate missing calls.
Yeah, me too.
That's honestly one of those things that I cringe at whenever an agent says that. Oh, I've been in the industry, or I'm with the number one, blah blah blah, but they're not submitting documents accurately, which drives me insane. I hate going back and forth when it comes to these documents. Unless it's negotiating, I'm here for it. But when it comes to the compliance pieces, it drives me nuts.
And it's a very common thing. It's amazing how much ego someone has for going to school for a week. But that's the industry that we're in. Hey, but to be fair, we do have an 87% dropout rate in their industry, and the remaining 13%, only 1% of that 13% are considered quote unquote successful, making six figures or more. So it is a very hard industry to crack the nut and be at the top.
Yeah.
So I do get why some people do have an ego. We make that joke. You only went to school for a week, and that's what happened. But when it came to the NAR changes, those are great points, Alex. Awesome. But when I deal primarily with sellers, and there's been no issues, but the conversation has been had. Oh, I heard that we don't have to pay a buyer broker anymore. And it's just having that conversation. I'm like, no, you've never had to, but you should, and this is why. And the reason why, if people were wondering, is that because when you're selling anything, it can be anything. It can be this highlighter that's missing a cap because I have children, so we always lose caps. It could be that highlighter that I just held up. When you're selling anything, you need and you want a consumer to buy it, you need to make it appealing. So if there's 20 highlighters and 19 of the highlighters are giving back, let's say, a compensation for buying their product, but this highlighter isn't, which highlighter is not going to get bought? The one not giving as much value. So if you're not going to offer compensation to a buyer's agent, and that buyer and buyers have a relationship with the agent who they want representing them, and that buyer's representation agreement says that they will be obligated to pay their agent if a seller's not paying it, and you're the only seller not offering it, which the buyers, that your house, even if it's the nicest house on the block, now becomes greatly unattractive and even unattainable. They're like, well, why should I pay? And this is for my sellers out there. Why should I pay for the buyer's compensation? And then the answer is pretty simple, because the buyers have costs, sellers have costs in order to make that sale of a house happen. Buyers have down payment, they have closing costs, they have inspections, appraisals, HOA, you name it, rate buy downs to make it work. That is a significant chunk of change. And the reason why the housing industry works is because if the sellers now had to offset some of their costs to the buyers wouldn't be able to buy your house. And that means your value of your house would go down. The reason why your value goes up, because there's more people able to buy your house, and they're able to buy it because they don't have to come out of pocket with paying buyer compensation. So if you don't offer it, A, you're less desirable, and B, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, and the buyers in the foot, because they can't afford your house anyways, even if they wanted to make an offer. It just doesn't make sense.
It also,
You
also have to remind them, Mr. Seller, where's that money coming from? Is it coming from you? Because you don't have that money right now. It's coming from the buyer.
Mhm.
So the
Yeah, you didn't-
buyers are still paying for all of your closing costs because they're the ones that are giving you all the money. You wouldn't
There's-
have, there would be no money. Like that's why there's expireds, right? Because buyers didn't bring money to buy your house.
Mhm.
There's a lot of ways you can skin that cat.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, so what happens is I'm losing all this money. It's like, well, hold on, you never earned that money.
Mhm.
You
All
never
you
had
did-
it, baby.
You didn't go to work and earn it. Now there's equity that's there. So a couple things with this. One, all your neighbors who sold their house is, let's say it's 97% or whatever it is. I think 3% are FSBOs, which sells below market value anyways. But let's say 97% of all the comps we're looking at had real estate agents involved in two of them, usually a buyer and the listing brokers. That cost of that price was built in to that sale price. So
Mhm.
you didn't lose anything. You just are assuming that that price there was money that you earned and that's already in your pocket, but it never existed. That's the cost of doing business. So if you don't want to offer compensation to a buyer's broker, you're going to lose a lot of interest and lose a lot of buyers who are just unable to cooperate. And if you don't have an interest in selling to a listing agent, then you're essentially a for sale by owner, which typically on average has a significant lower net profit
Mhm.
and longer days on market than if you did. So when you think you're saving money by not paying, you're actually losing money at the end of the day at the closing table. Plus, you're opening yourself up for a lot of legal issues because you're not protected unless you're working with an experienced real estate agent. And that's real talk, and going back to the buyer's agent thing where they're going to struggle, they have hard time having those types of hard confrontational conversations with people. And that's why they're buyer's agents, because they just want to be the happy guy that opens doors and looks all cute. And that's where the market's going to change. So
Which
we're
there's
making
no
some-
problem with that.
No, there's
Just-
nothing.
Yeah. Just want to,
This
I know
is-
you're roasting a whole segment of our audience, probably.
I have some conflicts with a couple buyers agents, and I'm
Are
kind
you
of letting
saying
it
that
out.
all real estate agents are the same? Is that what you're saying,
Yeah.
Chris?
They're all exactly
Never
the same.
would he ever.
Yeah, all bartenders, all plumbers, all doctors, everyone who does a job does it the exact same way. Of course, the results are exactly the same, so it doesn't matter who you hire.
That's got to be prejudice or racist of some sort.
Definitely not racist or prejudiced. I'm not built that way. But let's be real about this. So since we have to elevate our game and add even more value to our people, we're working on a couple things. The Homes by Koozie team in 2025. And within the next 3 minutes, I'll say, because I don't want to, belabor the point. But it's kind of a big deal. So basically, what we're trying to do is elevate our education level on multiple fronts, from helping our clients with 1031 exchanges and other types of investment properties. I actually paid for a commercial investment coach. My third call is on Friday. I'm paying a lot of money for this to be educated in the commercial space because I want to be able to provide and learn commercial investments from real estate sales to my clients when they need that. And then I can teach my team that. Divorce sales, probate sales, senior relocation, and then all of our other programs that are involved, like builder trading program, new construction program, B2B network, all that stuff. Anyway, so the idea is we have bought trainings and programs and coaching to educate ourselves on all these different fronts. And then now what we can do is we can create mini trainings and packages and worksheets and flow charts for people seeking answers to those questions in exchange for their information. So like, hey, for your free divorce with dignity report or whatever, here you go. And they'll give you their information. And then we can communicate with those people after the fact and see if we can help them in their real estate needs, right? So I believe the future is now elevating our expertise on on multiple fronts, and then sharing our expertise out with our world and with our clients. And in exchange for that, we become, the go-to real estate professionals. Because let's be real, like a lot of people aren't going to go that far into it.
That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway from today's episode is exactly that. What you said, educating ourselves in a way that we are getting ahead of it and we're just continuing to have a better understanding of the current climate, whether it's in 1031s, divorce, probates, whatever it is. We want to be able to serve serve our clients. And how do we always do that? It's just by staying ahead of it. So the fact that you're constantly going and finding, because it's not going to just sit on your, lay on your lap. Sure, our offices may have trainings that do pop in your email and say, hey, yeah, that's a great one to go to. But we really do have to do our own due diligence for ourselves and for our people. So solid move, my friend.
1 second. Sorry, my wife just popped in. So no. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal that, in my opinion, that's just the way things are going to go. Because I'm going to be honest. Well, let's be real about it. When someone calls us and they want to sell their house, the first question we should ask them is, do you know what your tax liability is going to be? And they don't usually. So then you would want to talk to and help them guide through that process and where they should take their money and invest it next. And most real estate agents, including myself, don't have a totally clear picture on that. I would typically refer them to a CPA to guide them in that. And then if it's buying another property, or if it's buying a commercial property, we would help them buy on the residential side, but then we'll refer out to a commercial person. If that was it. But what if all of a sudden we obtain this knowledge of, hey, instead of, say you want to sell your condo and you're going to have whatever on the water, you're going to have $6,000 in equity, you want to save on capital gains. Is it smarter for you to use that $600,000 to buy now a 18 unit apartment building, a commercial space? And if so, I want to have the experience back with my coach that I'm paying for, to make sure I'm guiding these people into the properties that would suit them. And then if we can provide that type of value and share our stories and convey that to people, it just elevates us to a whole nother level over everyone else by providing tremendous value.
Yeah, it's a great value add, and showing your value for social media as well, because now you have a success story. You can talk about it. That may trigger a conversation with somebody that's watching it and ask you questions, and boom, now you have a new funnel of business that you're able to do. Now it's no longer just selling somebody's 20-year residence to somebody who's about to start another family. It's somebody who can become a client for life, purchasing investment properties with you now.
Yeah, it's a whole new avenue. And what the really cool thing is, when Alex joins the Homes by Kuzi team, he can take advantage of this stuff too.
I don't know. I remember mentioning you emailing me last week, but I didn't get an email. So
I know,
you're really on it.
He did reach out. I just haven't gotten there.
It's been a week. I am a priority. I feel it.
By the way, that's called prize framing, sir. But that's another conversation for another day. Prize framing, it works very well. I did have another. I want to say something else. This is actually kind of a big deal, and then we'll wrap it up. So when let's say you have all this knowledge, and you have all these things that you can offer people, you got to think of a very cost productive way to get that information out to the consumers in order for them to know that you do these things. So that has led me into another rabbit hole of learning, and there's two different ways that, from my research, that do this the best way, which is less labor intensive and more leveraging technology of where it's at today. And one of those is creating compelling lead magnets with a free resource that will attract people to sharing their information in return for this information. And then now we can tag and label divorce or whatever. And then we can now guide them through a process catered to their needs. Right? That's one. That takes work. The first part of that's being educated and then putting it together and then whatever. The second part is creating content that people actually watch. And if I'm being totally real, if I watch any of our content, us three here, or most real estate agents, we're not really doing it as well as we're capable. We're not.
Yeah.
And this eats at me all the time. So the Homes by Kuzi team, we paid for a Go Viral training, and we started it today at our team meeting. And that's what I'm really geeking out about. That's going to prioritize the rest of my day. I got my checklist. I got my scripts. I got my gimbal. I got my wireless mics. I'm all hyped up. And then my next training,
reaching in every corner.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I was up all night long diving in. I'm like, oh, this is so cool, because if I can learn this, then not only is this viral worthy content that's proven to work with an actual system instead of just winging it, But now we can take that same viral worthy content, create retargeting ads. So if we can do a viral content about, we've been talking about divorces, say divorces, and write a hook, a rehook with visuals and all that stuff that they tell you to do. Then you can also, all the people who have signed up for that divorce freebie that you gave them, you have their information, you can now run that targeted video content viral ad to those individuals for those multiple things. So there's all these different like stairs, the ladders that we have to climb at the same time. And yeah, that's what I've been working on. And I'm hoping by March or even April of next year that it would all be finalized, because I'm definitely working my ass off to get there. But that's what it's going to take, I believe, 2025 and beyond, to do those extra steps.
And I'm proud of you, Chris, for doing it today on December
Yes.
1st, 2025.
Well, I'm proud of Alex to join our team, and Jen for you being here too to enjoy it.
Bitch, I'm waiting.
Slide to the right.
I got you. I'll get back to you today. It wasn't intentional. Just busy, bro.
It's okay. It's okay. You got a lot of irons in the fire. I get it.
But you're important. I got to get to you.
I know.
I would love to collaborate with you on something. Let's wrap like this, because I like not letting you guys talk at all.
I know. I did a tally for this episode to see how many questions you asked. Would you like?
Do you want to hear what I'm about to say? That's a question.
No, that doesn't count. 3. I gave you 3, and I think I gave you 1, so it might have been 2.
That's 2 more than they usually do.
That's all right, baby. I'm proud of you.
You did better last time on questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you're so capable.
I know.
Just you're excited today about
Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited to share. I like sharing.
I'm very happy for you. Would you like to share what you're about to say?
No, because you don't give a shit.
No, I do. I set up.
What was I gonna? No, I went. We did a funny video with JD the other day, and we are gonna do for a listing about playing hide and seek, and we were supposed to do one today, but my colleague, he had a last minute cancellation, so I asked either one of you if you wanted to do it with us. But anyways, what I'm saying to you, Alex, is what I would be really excited a lot with you is that you like making content, and I feel like with a structure and collaboration effort, it can be much better for you.
Yeah.
And me too. So.
And me 3.
Oh yeah, Jen, you too.
Oh yes, Jen's here.
I'm still here. Assholes.
Well, we'll talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it to him because I asked him if he wanted to be a part of this video today, and he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to reschedule for another day. But if either one of you want to be a part of this funny video, which I might scrap after learning this, but which I'm hoping to follow this training structure, I would love to have you guys involved. It's funny.
All right.
Yeah, just, I currently have a situation I'm working on.
I understand. Well, we're going to try to do it on Friday.
If you don't have a situation, then you're not a busy real estate agent.
That too. But this one, my mom fell yesterday.
Oh.
So I'm on call for like MRI duty to take her. So I was like, I would, but I got to be on driving mistakes.
What does that mean? You're on MRI duty. I was confused by that.
Whenever, because it's through workers' comp. So whenever they put her through an appointment, like literally happened yesterday. So they put her into a specialist yesterday at 3:00. And then once they got off the phone, then now it's waiting for her next appointment for today, which would be today, according to their conversation. I don't want her driving because she gets, you know how you talked about earlier, you would like lose your shit if you were in a box and doing MRI, Alex. Yeah, so she literally does. She has to take meds to not have a breakdown.
I get it. Get me some of those meds.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to make sure that I take her so that she's not having.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate the comments. Jason saying that's a great way to address it, Alex. I forget what I was talking about, but also he said that Jen's the best. Which I have to agree.
Yeah, she's awesome.
You're the best.
So because we work on time blocking and my 12 o'clock's here, my 12 o'clock, I lied. I am going to message 20 people, but I have to call the divorce attorney who's going to work on divorce sales with us at 12 first.
I have a 12 o'clock call.
Might need their number. All right, cool. So
All right, guys. We'll see you
Okay.
on the next one.
Yes.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.